While you're working in AutoCAD, it can be very beneficial to customize the workspace that you're going to be using all the time so it's set up exactly how you like it. Right now I'm in the default 3D modeling workspace, and as it is, that works pretty well. But there are some possible changes that I could make that could fit what I wanted to do better. So it's a really nice thing to know how to do. So this is, as I said, the default space. So we have our standard ribbon, the command line below, and so on. What some people like to do is actually grab some of those traditional toolbars that an AutoCAD Classic environment might have, just to keep things available for them. That's really common and very handy. Once you've switched from the drafting and annotation workspace to 3D modeling, things shift around a little bit, so it can be a little confusing to find those. And where you go is actually the View tab on the ribbon, which is about in the middle. And then way off to the right, you'll see a Toolbars section. If you click on Toolbars, you'll have 3 different options. And to get to those classic toolbars, we're going to go to AutoCAD. And then you'll see them all listed here. So it might be possible that I would really like the modeling toolbar available, or modify, or that type of thing. So you can go through, it's in alphabetical order, and pick one that you're interested in. So I might select modeling, and when I do that, it will put it somewhere on my screen. It might be tucked up under the ribbon, it might be floating, it depends on where it was last, and that type of thing. So what I have here is the modeling toolbar. So I see that it has 3D primitives and things like extrude and revolve and subtract and union and that type of thing. If I don't like its location, I can move it really easily. You do that by grabbing the left side of the toolbar that has those dotted vertical lines. If I click and grab that, you'll see that I can let that float but just about anywhere I want it. So that can just kind of be hanging out on your screen anywhere. If I get close to the edge, you'll see that it goes vertical, so I can tuck it off to the side vertically. And so let's grab it and it'll switch. Or I could let it go back up under the ribbon, really anywhere that I want. So, here's one, and now I have a little extra space. So I might just go in, grab my toolbars, go to AutoCAD, and maybe I'd like to use Modify. Now notice as I'm doing that the one that I have out on my screen has a check mark by it. So it's real easy to tell what you've got going on. So I can grab and put this one up here, and so on. A little tricky thing about this is once this fills up, maybe I can grab an example here, it will let things sort of shoot off the screen a little bit. So you see this one, I grabbed the draw toolbar, it lets them go off screen. So sometimes that can be confusing. You're looking for a specific tool and it's actually hanging outside of the interface. So it's something you have to watch. If I bring this down below, I can start expanding it, so you can really have quite a few toolbars going. You have to make a decision here if losing your drawing area is worth having these toolbars, but that's really up to you. Some people really like to have these. And what's nice about it is that as you flip through the different tabs up above, those never change. So if you're going to use specific drawing tools or editing tools or something like that all the time, as you flip around these tabs, those don't change, and that can be really nice. It's very consistent, so you don't have to worry about it so much. So I can have these here, and you can also do things like go back to the View tab and have palettes out and all that type of thing. So for example, if I use the Properties palette all the time, I could check that and maybe let it hang out on the side, that type of thing. And then I could save this as my own personal workspace. What I have to do then is go back up to the top where we initially changed our workspace, and we can save current as. So I'm going to click that, and then I will name this as maybe 3D modeling Brooke. Okay, and I'll save it. So now if I switch back and forth between different workspaces, this one should be here just as I have it right now. So I'll come back up and I could switch back to drafting and annotation, for example. And that's just as it was before. I can go to 3D modeling, and that's how it looked initially. And then I can go in and change it to my 3D modeling dash Brooke, the one that I just saved. And there we have it. So you can set up different workspaces for the different type of work you're going to be doing. Now if I hit that drop down one more time, you'll see that it just added mine to the bottom. Well, I can go into workspace settings to play around with that. You see that I could actually, uncheck different items and then they won't show up. I can move this one up. So maybe I want to do 3D modeling and AutoCAD Classic, for example. And those are the only ones I'm going to keep available. I'll say OK. And when I go back up here, those are the only two that show up. So you can actually have a variety of workspaces available, but they don't all have to be populating this menu. I can always go back in and turn them back on, move them around, whatever I want to do. Say OK. Now, if I decide at any time that there's a workspace that I don't want anymore, it's a little bit trickier to get rid of it, but it's very doable. What I'm actually going to do is delete the one I just made. So I'm going to go up and just change it back to the default 3D modeling view. So this is what it looks like standard. And what I do now is actually type in the word workspace. Once you type in the word workspace, you'll see that you have some options down here, including saving, editing, renaming. What I'm going to do is type in D for delete. Once I do that, it'll say enter workspace to delete. So then I type in 3D modeling Brooke, and it asks me, do you really want to delete this one? So I type in Y, enter, and now it will be gone.